All right. How are you doing today, Lisa?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, Adam?
Good. All right, everybody. We're going to talk about emotional quotient today, EQ. Are you familiar with EQ?
I am in terms of IQ.
Okay. Tell us what does EQ mean to you, Lisa?
To me, EQ, we're going to begin with emotionality. For me, it is more along the lines of intelligence before is emotional intelligence, or as in, um, you know, wisdom. Just emit wisdom when it comes to, being able to handle your own emotions as well as the emotions of others. Almost like this empath to narcissist dynamic,
Okay.
as in sometimes there's a lot of energies at play, a lot of forces, powerful forces at play, because we are all energies and everything that we exchange in the universe is in energetic exchange.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes when we're in conversation, we can even be in the room without being in conversation. Those are non-verbal cues and things, but you're going to pick up that. We're going to absorb that energy off of each other. Like you can change the whole vibe of the room just by bringing you to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Same for someone else, if their emotions are strong enough
Yeah.
to balance out or either lopside the other side of the spectrum, whether that be good or bad, transmuting or just absorbing.
Okay.
So
I always think about it like, okay, you've got a student at school who tries really hard and they learn about science or math, and their IQ can get very high. But if they have trouble with social interactions, their EQ might not be, developed as much, so they might struggle in a workplace situation, even though they know so much about these topics. If they can't interact with people very well, it holds them back career-wise, or maybe even socially in a school setting. Does that kind of make sense? So I wish EQ was more important to in our society for people to develop that, as opposed to just focusing on like STEM with math and science. Those things are important. We need engineers, but we also need people that can deal with people better.
people who can stand strong, especially when it comes to being goal oriented
Mm-hmm.
or focusing on a project or even working well in team settings.
Yeah, different personalities. Like you got somebody that's from a different part of the world as you, and they have a accent that's hard to understand. And can you be patient with that person? They might be highly intelligent and maybe very socially developed, but you can't understand them. And since you don't have an appreciation for a different culture, maybe you get frustrated very easy. So yeah, in a team setting, that can be huge.
Imagine this, right? Where I'm from, it was very popular for, employers to do pre-screening whenever you go to a kiosk or fill out an application for a career or occupation. They'll have you fill out this personality assessment directly following the demographic
Trying to figure
section.
you out before they hire you. They want to know more about your personality and stuff.
Well, I just see it as them being protective
Yeah.
of their work chemistry,
Sure.
their environment.
Mm-hmm.
I used to look at it as such a negative when I was younger because, when I didn't get callbacks, I'd be like, as smart as I am, did I fail the personality test?
Right, right.
Because at the time, my emotions were all over the place, just up
Yeah.
and down, like I was on an emotional roller coaster.
Sure.
So I was always insecure, and though I'd be the one like, yeah, that's definitely the answer. I feel so crazy. Why don't I know this answer? But then
Yeah.
I'm like changing my answer. I was
Yeah.
always second guessing myself.
Yeah.
So maybe they saying to themselves, maybe this is not necessarily the right fit. As in, you have the trades, you have the likability,
Mm-hmm.
you have the experience,
Yeah.
but you don't necessarily fit the bill.
They might be looking for something
Or
that you're just not that. Like I think a lot of Hollywood actors get frustrated. They think I'm so good looking, I can sing, I can dance, I'm talented. But if the director isn't looking for the way you look or the way you sound, it has nothing to do with you. It's just what they're looking for. So you have a spot somewhere. It's just not here.
Exactly.
You'll find your spot. It's just this particular person is looking for something that you can't be. So look somewhere else.
Exactly. And think of it this way, as in, I think this is something we can teach society. I think this is a teachable skill. I really do. It's just you have to be self-aware of this.
Yeah.
You can't really fix something without acknowledging that there is a problem, that I have a personality defect or a complex. So, say for instance, like I said, even then, from my 18-year-old self and how I've evolved today, because I understand these things, I can communicate with someone in the language that they speak to where it's compatible. So we can speak the same language, so we can collaborate versus compete, So that will bring us completion.
We've been talking about that a lot, the competitive versus collaborative thing. I mentioned a story with somebody I know that wanted to get in a political argument, assuming I was on the other side as he was, and I said, I can go get one of those people for you. We have one, close by, but that's not me. I'm not going to compete with you on that stuff. But we can, if you have an idea you want to collaborate with, let's do it. So I think we were also talking about like a romantic relationship, or even a friendship relationship. You're in love with this person. You want to be with them, but they're just not into you. We can't force people to do that, and even if they agree to it because they're lonely and they figure, well, I'll settle for this person because I got nothing else to do. So eventually, they're going to be, if they don't love you, they don't love you. So it's going to be a one-way street, and that's where you get into this narcissist empath thing that we talked about, where the narcissist will feed off the empath and take everything they got, but the empath will get nothing in return and basically lead to frustration, and eventually it ends, and it has to be a mutual, I love this person loves me type of thing, So having that emotional, the EQ more developed, we can realize, okay, I do love this person. I wish they were into me, but they're not. So I'm gonna let them go. And I'm not gonna try to pursue this because in the end it's gonna be fruitless. So there's somebody out there that's gonna love me as much as I love them.
And see, when you love yourself enough, you can let go with love and light and realize that there has to be some sort of frequency equalization.
Yeah.
It's almost like, traction. It's like unnecessary.
Yeah.
Traction. It's like, when you're trying to merge into oneness, because I believe when it comes to partnerships, versus, personal or platonic, there needs to be some type of, latch, some type of glue that holds it together. Because if not, then eventually, if they never latch on, then I think the friction in between the two are just gonna make it like a whole Big Bang theory, like a whole Big Bang theory, and then it's not gonna work. All
right, so you just mentioned loving yourself, and I think this is like the issue of our time, right? You think you're supposed to give everything to another person, or at least I used to think that. And loving yourself, I didn't even know what that meant. I thought it was some weird concept. But now I believe that if you don't love yourself and you don't take care of yourself, you can't really love somebody else to the level that you can if you love yourself first. You take care of yourself. You eat right, and you take care of your body. You exercise, and give yourself, forgive yourself for the mistakes that you made, and try to give to yourself things that you need, because we all have needs, emotional needs, relationship needs, all those things. And we allow ourselves to have the things that we need. Other people, I think they recognize the energy, like you were talking about earlier. They know if you love yourself, and disrespecting you is going to be a lot harder to do when they know Elisa respects herself. I'm not going to be able to get away with that. But they also respect you more, and they actually, I think, they want to be around you. They want to love you more just because they know that you love yourself. Do you feel that way at all?
It makes perfect sense, especially when it comes to this biblical phrase that I love to quote a lot, that God said He wish above all things that we prosper and be in good health, just as much as our soul doth prosper. As in, this is actually what we are here to eventually evolve to completion, to abundance. And so you can't pour from an empty cup. And people can recognize when you have lack and poverty consciousness. And it's not necessarily talking about the materials, but I think it's also speaking of emotional, the level of emotional availability.
But they know you don't love yourself.
They know it.
They know you don't respect yourself. So why should they give you respect? If you don't respect you, then why would they waste their time doing it? Some people think that way. Some people will, have compassion for you and they'll give you respect. But a lot of people will take advantage of people that don't respect themselves, right? I mean,
they see you as a charity case, and they can,
or somebody to exploit,
or someone to exploit. But they know that you're willing to give more to them just to have them around than you're willing to give to yourself. So if this is a trauma bond where you are gravitated towards each other based off of need, meaning I need you to give this to me, not that I want you here because I love you, because I believe that God designed you for me.
Right.
I need you here because I'm manifesting something outside of myself, meaning I need you because of money, or I need you because I don't love myself, so you'll make me love myself because you're here.
Yeah.
So you'll cover up
Yeah.
all these things I swept under the rug that I don't want to be visible. I don't want to see myself in the mirror. So with you're here, you're validating that I'm okay the way I am. So why should I work on myself? Why should I sit here in aloneness and be one with myself? So
it's like I think of it as like another form of addiction where, okay, you're using alcohol or drugs to escape because you're unhappy with your life, or maybe you just think, well, I'll be happy if I get intoxicated, kind of thing. Same thing goes for people. Oh, if I'm with this person, she's beautiful or he's smart or beautiful, whatever. I'll be happy if I get together with them. But it's just another form of escapism. It's this thing outside of me I'm attached to, and if I get that thing, it could be a car, it could be a house, it could be a job, a title, status, money, whatever. Other people, unfortunately, are used just like any other addiction.
And also too, you mentioned some great points there, but also instant gratification. And I think, to be truthful with you, it's this generation that we, pushed ourselves to in instant gratification. It's like back in the day, we were much more of a patient people, like the older generations in society. Yeah. Like everything was more of I'm just going to mellow out and go with the flow. I'm not going to force anything. But when we came along, this whole microwave, we want it now. So in all of that, we kind of left behind the importance of sitting there and doing the work, the innermost journey, the spiritual journey. And we put that dead last. Like most of the time we say, that's on my bucket list. So if I get around to it before I take my last breath, that's great. God will understand, you know. But what it takes away from you is self-love, self-worth, self-esteem, self-value. These things that are important for you attracting the partnerships that you desire in business, in love, and even in family. So some people wonder, why is my family in such a disarray? Because all of you guys are miserable inside. So you're all giving each other misery from an empty cup. And everyone's trying to take who's trying to give because everyone has a need.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, all right, well, that's our episode on self-love and EQ. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. Take care.
So long.